Good morning, welcome to day 5 of Vlogmas. So it's Tuesday the 5th of December and I've just dropped my children off at school, so it's quite early, it's not quite yet 9 o'clock. And now I'm going to walk down to the post office to drop off a parcel. So I thought I'd take you guys along with me, so I'm going to take a bit of footage of that, my walk there, and then I'll catch up with you again when I'm back at home. So see you again in a little bit, bye! Home now. I hope you enjoyed seeing a little bit of my walk there. It was a bit of a damp morning, but yeah, so it's nice to be home now. I've had a cup of tea and done a few jobs around the house, and I thought I'd pop on now and catch up properly. So I'll start off as ever with what we found Elf up to when we woke up this morning. And this morning we found Elf in our utility room, and he got out one of the areas, which I'm quite impressed with because it's quite a big thing for a little elf to get out. And he'd pegged on Sierra all sorts of random items from around the house. I don't know how he came up with this collection of items. I'm not sure why he did it. My husband said he thought maybe Elf was trying to be helpful with the chores and just got it a bit wrong, but I'm not too sure. But yeah, my children were quite amused with all the items Elf had gathered together and pegged up. He'd made a bit of a mess with the pegs too, so I've tied that back up this morning. But it's quite fun actually because all the items pegged in there were so random. We thought this morning we'd have a go at that memory game. You know, we have a load of random items and you cover them up and you've got to write a list and see how many you can get. So we closed the door in the utility room and worked on a list together, and we came up with all but one of the items between us. So we were quite pleased with that. So it was almost like Elf set us a little game this morning. So yeah, that's what Elf was up to. And then in terms of what I'm wearing today, well, I've got something else, red again today. I'm definitely going Christmassy with the red garments. And this one is a really cosy sweater dress that I made using this pattern here, which is a pattern I really love. It is the South Bank sweater and sweater dress pattern by Nina Lee. And it's the first Nina Lee pattern I ever got. I've got a few of her patterns now. And I think it's probably the one I've made the most. I just find it to be such a great versatile pattern. I've made all 3 different versions of this one, and I really like each of them, and I find they each sort of play a different part in my wardrobe. And I don't think there are actually that many patterns out there where I've made all the versions of the pattern and love all of the versions. So yeah, it's a really great pattern. So yeah, it's for kind of a sweater dress or a sort of jumper or a crop jumper with this sort of funnel neck and dropped shoulders. It's got cuffs and a bottom band if you make the dress, but if you make the top and the crop top, you just kind of turn under the bottom. Although I have actually made this version in the middle and added on a bottom band instead to make it a bit more jumpery and a bit less toppy, as it were. But yeah, it's designed for knit fabrics. You can make it in a whole range of knit fabrics. I think Needle recommends you can make this one in like a lighter weight knit fabric to make it more of like a top you could wear with a pair of jeans tucked in as a lighter weight top. I've made this crop version in some nice cosy fleece back sweatshirts, and I really love wearing those. I've teamed with a skirt. But yeah, I'm wearing this dress version today. I've got 2 versions of the dress. This is my first one I made, and I made it in this lovely cozy fabric. Hold it up so you can see all the texture to it. This is a Mind the Maker fabric, and it's a quilted fabric, so it's got organic cotton on each sort of side, and then inside I think there's the 15% of the composition is recycled polyester, which gives it sort of like a bit of squishiness, and I guess it means you can get this nice quilting and this sort of chevron effect on it. This fabric is still available in a few different colourways still, so I'll link it down below. This is obviously the red colourway, it's kind of like a nice dark red colour. It makes for a really cosy sweater dress. So for this first version of the South Bank sweater dress, I decided I wanted to make it a little bit longer because I wanted a really cosy dress. And when I had a look online at how the dress looked on other people, it looked like it came up as a shorter dress. So I lengthened mine a little bit to make it a little bit longer. I'll put a picture up so you can see what it looks like on how long it comes down on me. And I added in the pockets because the sweater dress does have an option to add pockets, so I thought I'd add them in. But when I lengthened the dress, it was a bit silly. I lengthened at the waist and then I forgot to move the pockets up to compensate for the fact I made the dress longer. So the pockets do sit a little bit too low really, and I don't really use them. And I did go on to make one more version of the South Bank sweater dress after this one. And for my second version, I decided to go for more of the mini dress length, a bit more like the pattern intended. And I made that version in a navy fleeceback sweatshirting fabric. And for that version, I decided to omit the pockets. And I actually really like both versions. I don't think I have a preference. They're both a bit different to each other. And I really enjoy wearing both. But if I made this version again, I'd definitely make sure to remember to bring the pockets up a little bit higher to make them a little bit more practical. But yeah, it's just a really nice, cosy sweater dress. It's keeping me nice and warm on quite a cold day. And in terms of sizing on this one, I think my measurements would put me as a size 6 on the bust and then a size 8 on the waist and hips. But instead of grading between the sizes, I decided just to make a straight size 8 because actually I quite like to wear a t-shirt underneath this dress. So I thought a little bit more room around the bust area wouldn't really be a bad thing. And I quite like the fit. And I quite like on this pattern how the arms have quite a slim fit to them. I quite like that slim fit arm. I think it's quite a nice feature. But yes, that is what I'm wearing today. And then the next thing I wanted to talk about is a bit of a refashion project that I did a week or two ago, and I haven't shared it yet on here, so I thought I'd share that today. So you might have seen a video of mine a couple of weeks ago where I was doing a handmade wardrobe clear out, and I basically went through a few garments that I'd made in previous years and I wasn't really reaching for, and I talked about why I didn't think they were working for me and whether I was going to maybe hand them on or try and alter them to make them work better. So I'll link that video up above in case you haven't watched it and fancy having a watch of that one. So I had a few garments I was having a think about, and one garment I didn't talk about in that video but is another one that I have been thinking about maybe changing because it wasn't really working for me, is a top that I thought I'd share about what I've done to it now. So the top I made using this pattern that I've got down here, which is the Jennifer Lauren handmade MET pattern. So it's a jersey top pattern with a drop shoulder or a drop shoulder and long sleeve top, or you can make a short sleeve version with a cute little cuff on the hem bit. And what I really liked about this pattern particularly is that it was a great sort of option for scrap busting because Jennifer Lauren had designed this version here that you could use lots of different fabric scraps to create the front of the t-shirt. And I thought it was really cool. When she released the pattern, she shared a few different versions. And I thought they were really pretty if you chose really nice scraps to go together. So yeah, I really fancied getting that pattern. And I bought it, and the first version I made, I really like, and I've worn a fair bit, which is this version here. It's this t-shirt that I made out of all scraps and had quite fun putting the rainbow colours together. So that is the first version I made, the t-shirt with the short sleeves with the little sort of cute little cuffs there. And then I made after that a long sleeved version in some other scrap fabrics. But I just didn't find when I put the long sleeve version on that it felt very flattering on me. I don't know, I feel like with the drop shoulder and the quite slim cut arms, it felt like there was quite a lot of fabric sort of gathering here. And it just didn't really feel as comfortable or as me as the sort of short sleeve t-shirt. So what I decided to do is, rather than sort of hand it on, to try and make it work better, and I thought it'd be really simple just to take the sleeves off and add the little cuff and pretty much turn it into another version of this t-shirt, which I really like to wear. So that's what I did, and here's my refashioned long sleeve t-shirt. So you can see again, I used some scrap fabrics. It's really pretty sort of rose, this jersey with this sort of rose print on, and I quite like how that pink teamed in with this pink here, and then some stripes. You can't go wrong with a bit of stripes. So yeah, that is my second version, all changed to add the little hem on, and it was actually quite a straightforward refashion. I'd forgotten that actually I'd sewn this top using Mariflex thread, and it was so much easier to unpick because with Mariflex thread you can do a straight stitch on stretchy fabrics because the thread stretches. So instead of having like a zigzag of normal sort of sew-all thread to unpick, I had a nice straight stitch and it unpicked so much easier, so I hadn't even thought about that being a benefit of Mariflex thread. So yeah, I unpicked these sleeves, and then actually what I found was there was actually enough fabric in the sleeves to be able to cut out the cuffs. I had got a few scraps of this fabric left, so I could have used those if there wasn't enough fabric in the sleeve, but I was pleasantly surprised to find, I guess because the cuffs bring it in a little bit, so they're designed to be a little bit sort of smaller to kind of, yeah, bring it in that little bit at the hem, at the edge. There was enough fabric to be able to cut those pattern pieces, so I was able to use the sleeve fabric just to finish off these cuffs and turn it into a short sleeve t-shirt. And I think I'll get more wear out of this one. I did the long sleeve t-shirt. So yeah, I was glad to do that little refashion. I'm definitely going to wear that one more. And it's nice to make it work because I thought these fabrics look quite nice together. So that was a little refashion project. So whilst I'm on now, I thought I'd also catch you up on our evening last night. So I mentioned in my video yesterday, my day 4 of Vlogmas video, that we had quite a busy evening coming up yesterday. My daughter had her last brownies of the term, and my son had been invited to a Christmas tree dressing ceremony at our local town, which he went to representing his school. So yeah, it was quite a busy evening, making sure that everyone was in the right place at the right time, but it was a fun evening too. My daughter really enjoyed her last brownies of the term. She came home with some badges, which she was very excited about. So when I finally got a chance to sit down on the sofa last night, I sewed those badges on, and she was quite pleased to see they were all in place this morning. And I thought I'd share something else she made at brownies, which I thought was really cute. She made this little gingerbread house. I think it must be the tiniest gingerbread house ever. It smells quite nice and Christmassy actually. It seems a shame to eat it, it's so cute, but yeah, I thought that was quite sweet, and she was very pleased to show us that when she came home along with her badges. And then the Christmas tree dressing ceremony was really nice too. There were lots of local schools there. It was a bit rainy and damp, which is a shame, but we kept our spirits high, and it was still a really lovely event that we had umbrellas to keep dry, so it was okay. But basically there were lots of local schools there, and the town mayor was there, and each local school and its representatives had made some sort of Christmas decoration to hang on our big tree in the town. And the brief for the decorations was to make them out of something you already have. So my son and his friends at school, they had made theirs out of old sort of milk bottle tops that were green, and they sort of made them in as like a Christmas tree shape and decorated them to make them a bit glittery. And they were quite interesting. It was quite interesting seeing all the different decorations actually, and all the different ways people had used materials they already had to make quite large decorations that needed to be large for a large tree. So every school went up to present the decorations to the mayor, and then we sang a few carols along the way too. And yeah, it was a really nice evening, nice to be part of it. So I took a little bit of footage, and I'll pop that in a moment so you can see how the evening unfolded. I've got a couple of pictures of me and my son in there too. So yeah, I'll pop that in a moment. So I think I'll finish this video off here now. I'm not exactly sure what I'm going to do today. I've got a bit of time so I can do some sewing. So I'm going to go and get on with a few house jobs and hopefully do a bit of sewing, and I'll catch up with you guys in a little bit. So I'll leave you that footage and I'll see you in a little bit. Bye. So I'm back again, and as you can see this time I'm at my sewing table, also known as our dining table. And I thought I'd catch you up on what I've been up to on the sewing front since I left you earlier. I've got a few bits done. So the first thing I did was to sew up my son's beanie hat, which I cut out yesterday. So here is his finished beanie hat in this cute Where's Wally cotton jersey, and it is reversible, so that is the inside or the outside, both work either way. So yeah, that was quite a nice, easy, speedy, simple sew. The most fiddly bit about it was pressing the jersey seams open because they're on the curve. I used my tailor's ham to help me, and actually this edge of the tailor's ham here was a very similar shape to the hat, so that made it a bit easier pressing those seams open. But yeah, it came together really nicely. I hope it's all fitting. I'll get him to try it on when he gets home, so fingers crossed. But yeah, it's nice to have got that project all done and dusted. And then the next thing I did was to do a very small amount more on my 5 Mood DD pullover. So this pattern here, and I'm making it in that fabric back there, the faux fur Sherpa fleece I got from Fabric Godmother. So I sewed the shoulder seams on my overlocker. And then the next thing I did was have a good old read of the instructions of how the zip is inserted. And as well as reading the instructions, I also watched a tutorial on zip insertion on YouTube that somebody had recommended when I was talking about inserting the zip on a previous Vlogmas video. So thank you to the person who recommended the Cat Stitchery tutorial video. I will link the video down below. She posted it in November. It's not actually for inserting the zip into the DD pullover. She made a different pullover. It was a Hive pullover by Ali Olsen Patterns, but it's quite a similar style of pullover. And it was really interesting seeing the steps she went through to insert the zip. And one thing in particular that she mentioned, or that she used in her tutorial, was some Wonder tape, which is this cool sewing tape that you can stick on between the fabric and the zip to sort of hold them together when you're sewing, instead of using pins. And I thought that was a really great idea, because I do often find that pins don't always work so well with a zip, and they can kind of make it bumpy and throw it out of shape a little bit. So I thought Wonder tape was a great idea, and I haven't used it before, so I went online and found some online. I've ordered that and it should be coming tomorrow. So I'm quite excited to give it a try. It had loads of great reviews saying how good it is for inserting zips. So I feel like it's one of those things that I could do with having in my sort of sewing supplies cupboard. So I'm hoping when that arrives, I'll then have all the stuff I need to be able to tackle the zip on the 5 Mood DD. So yes, thank you very much to the person who recommended that video. It was really, really helpful. And I think Wonder tape would be quite helpful generally for me with zips going forward. I hadn't come across it before, or the name rang a bit of a bell, but I didn't really think I knew how you should use it, what it was used for. So yeah, that'll be quite handy. It'll be nice to carry on progressing my DD pullover. And then one other thing I thought I'd mention is I've downloaded a free pattern today, which I was quite excited about. I subscribe to the Fold Line newsletter, and the Fold Line sell lots of patterns. They also do A0 printing, and they're often really handy, I find, for searching for patterns. So if you want to make, say when I wanted to make a piece of swimwear, I had a look at all the swimwear patterns they had on their website, and they had loads of different options, and it was a great way to find loads of different pattern companies, patterns all together to search through. You can kind of, you can sort of specify what kind of garment you want, whether you want an indie pattern or a big 4 pattern, and lots of other criteria. You can narrow it down to find the pattern for you. So it's quite handy anyway. So I subscribe to their newsletter, you may well do too. And they're doing this 12 Days of Christmas special, where every day at the moment they're sending an email with either a discount code or a code for a free pattern. So today I got a code for a free pattern, which is the Paper Theory LB pullover. And this is a pattern I've seen before, but I didn't know much about. So I went and had a little look on the website, and I thought it looked like a really great pattern. I'll put a picture up so you can see what it looks like. It's a sort of sweater pattern, and there's 2 options, either a sweater with kind of a big funnel neck, or more of a, what do they call it? Yeah, either a turtleneck or regular crew neck. And it's got a drop shoulder and quite a relaxed boxy fit to it. And it comes in quite a wide size range too. I think it comes in approximately UK 6 to a 30. So yeah, I downloaded that pattern with a free code they popped in the newsletter. And yeah, I'm really excited to give it a try actually. The cool thing about it that I think is, instead of being designed for like stretch fabric, it's actually designed for woven or very low stretch knit fabrics. So I thought it seemed a bit different. And when I had a look on the Instagram hashtag, there were loads of really cool versions using all different types of fabrics. I think it's quite a versatile one. So yeah, I'm really glad to have that pattern now downloaded on my computer. And I think I'm definitely going to give it a go at some point. I don't know whether if you subscribe to the Fold Line newsletter now, you'll get the emails now for the rest of the 12 days of Christmas. It's worth going and having a look. You may get them already, but I thought I'd mention that they are sending through some quite good deals. I think there was another free pattern earlier in the month for a dressing gown as well. So yeah, I think I'd really like to try that Paper Theory LB pullover. I've only made one Paper Theory pattern before, I think, which is the Zadie jumpsuit and playsuit pattern. And I really love that pattern. I really love the instructions, how it came together. So I'm sure I'll enjoy the LB pullover. I just need to go looking for some fabric to give that one a go. So yeah, I was quite pleased with that. And then in terms of my plans the rest of the day, well, I've got a few jobs to get done here before I go out to collect my children on the school run. And then this evening my son has scouts. They're due to be going on a hike around some local woods in the dark, so it should be fun. And I'm hoping to get a bit of time on the sofa to do a bit of crafting, but we will see how I get on. I'll update you tomorrow. So thank you very much for joining me for another day of Vlogmas. I really appreciate it, and I'll look forward to seeing you again for day 6 tomorrow. So yeah, see you tomorrow. Bye.